Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to video number 5 in the series, or more accurately, this is probably chapter 5. Sounds a little better. We're going to go ahead and import the FBX objects into, or just 3D objects into our project. I believe it can take more than an FBX object, but I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. I don't actually remember, but in this video I'm just going to use FBX, but I think you can use OBJs, and I think there's a few others that PySide6 takes. But yeah, we're gonna have our FBX, and we're gonna have four different textures. But I don't believe we're using them all, but we're still gonna import them anyways. Okay, let's go ahead and launch QtDesign Studio, and we're gonna navigate to our project directory. And really quickly here, I'm going to have to comment out the Python imports and uncomment out the QtDesign Studio imports. Okay, now that that is set, we're going to go ahead and go to the Assets panel, and directly below the search box, we're going to hit this little plus icon here. And you're going to want to navigate to your multiple planets folder, and we're going to go ahead and select all 5 of these files here, the FBX and 4 of the textures for it. We're going to go ahead and select open. I don't use global scale. I've never really had to use it. But if you need to, it's there. Okay, after it's importing, it's now asking where it wants these images, and we're just going to go ahead and click Browse, and we're going to back out of this into the QML, and we're going to go into Generated, Qt Quick 3D, Multiple Planets, and then we're going to go ahead and go into the meshes. Okay, now as you see, we got the import for it. We're going to go ahead and save that. And if we go over to components, you can see here now we see our planet. And really quickly, I'm going to jump into Navigator, show down the extended view, and go into Scene. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete this cube model. And I'm going to go ahead and drag the planet into Scene as well. So now we have the model, but as you see, it's doesn't have a texture applied to it. So I'm actually going to undo this real quick and just delete it out of here. And we're going to go ahead and right click the object and hit Edit Component. Okay, so this went ahead and took us to the multiple planets QML, which is essentially the code for the 3D object. And we're going to need to apply the textures. So you're going to want to click on this first one. This is the RGB texture for it. And go ahead and go to the Properties tab. And on the source, go ahead to the right here and hit this plus icon. And then you're going to want to navigate to your generated Qt Quick 3D multiple planets meshes, and we're going to go ahead and select that RGB here. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for this guy, but this is the normals. So again, I clicked on it, we're in properties. I am going to hit plus on source, and we're going to go ahead and apply the normals. And we're going to go ahead and save that, and go back to screen 01. So now you can, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see the image now applied to the sky, and it even has a thumbnail preview that gets created for it, which is pretty cool. And we're going to go ahead and drag that into our scene. And now you can see we have our multiple planets 3D object. Okay, so let's go ahead and make the 3D object rotate now. So go ahead and go to the code, and we're going to go ahead and go right below the multiple planets, and we're going to make a sequential animation here. We're going to give this an ID. This is going to be called rotation animation. We're also going to give this loops, and that's going to be set to animation.infinite. And then in here, we're going to go into a property animation. And within the property animation, we're going to specify a target. That target is going to be multiple planets. We're going to go ahead and give it a property, which is basically what it's going to edit. And that is going to be, in quotes, the Euler, probably saying that wrong, rotation.y. Now we're going to say that's going to be from 0 to 360 degrees. I'm going to give it a duration. This is in milliseconds. So we're going to say it's going to take 10 seconds for a full rotation. So it's a nice, slow, gradual turn. And we're going to give it an easing.type. Oops. And that's going to be set to easing.linear. And outside of this, below the 3D object that we created here, we're going to go right below that, in between that and the custom button here, and we're going to do a component.onCompleted. So now when the window loads, what we want to say is rotation animation.start. And you can already kind of see a component making itself. And typically in good practice, you would start to make this a component because it's starting to use functions. And because of that, I actually have to, because I don't want to create a component right now, just to kind of save up on time. I'm just going to rename this to QML. .ui.qmls can't use JavaScript functions, so we're just going to take that out, which I believe now we've got to edit. No, that's fine. Okay, so now we have a sequential animation, which is going to run it infinitely, and within that we have a property animation, which has a target of multiple planets, which is our 3D object, and it's set to the y-axis of it, and it's going to rotate it from 0 to 360 degrees in 10 seconds, and it's just going to constantly repeat that. And when the screen is shown, it's going to go ahead and start that rotation. So we can go ahead here and debug this. Oh, shoot. Hang on. I need to go into main window. We're going to give these some visibility. Typically all these would be set to false if you were running in Python, so that it sets the one you want, but I'm just going to set it here. Now, as you can see when we run it, we have a 3D object rotating. Now, yeah, this is an AI generated 3D object, so the textures on it and just everything about it, it's pretty but yeah, it works. So we'll go ahead and run this and show you in Python. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this guy up. Go into VS Code. Now quickly I have to change these guys out. And uncomment these guys. Okay, and this guy is now going to be a QtDesign Studio import, and we're going to have to import him with string. So we're going to back out of directory, go to generated, QtQuick3D, and into multiple planets. And let me breeze through these guys, make sure Python's set for all of them. Yep. Okay, go ahead and run this guy. Now you can see in Python we have our spinning 3D object, and we have our button that works, and I kind of clicked that kind of early. But yeah, everything's working, and you have your 3D object. So that should conclude the end of this tutorial, at least for now, unless there's other things you guys want me to show you. Um, I have been dabbling with the Qt Creator and getting the CMake list files to generate over, and then kind of just converting this code over to C. Um, and I might make one more video after this where I'm just going to show you the game I've been making called Realm Wars in QtDesign Studio, and well, PySide6 as well. But yeah, that will be the end of this video, and really appreciate you sticking around for the whole thing, and I hope you found this enjoyable, and have a good day.